My business partner secretly filed paperwork to remove me as co-owner. While I was on medical leave, he didn't know. I still had access to the original contracts. Not just a business partner, not just some co-worker. Your business partner. Someone you built something with from the ground up. Someone you trusted with your future. And while you're dealing with a medical emergency, while you're literally fighting for your health, he's in an office somewhere filing paperwork to erase you from the company you created together. And he thought he got away with it, until he found out you still had the originals. And then what happened next? It's absolutely devastating, but also completely justified. This is a story about business, trust, betrayal, and what happens when someone thinks they're smarter than the person they're trying to screw over. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, so before I read the full Reddit post, I want to give you some context. This is a story from our ProRevenge and our JusticeServed. It blew up because people were outraged at what the business partner did, but also incredibly satisfied with how the original poster handled it. Here's the thing about business partnerships. They're like marriages. You need trust, communication, and transparency. If you don't have those things, everything falls apart. And in this case, the business partner didn't have any of those things. He had greed, he had ambition, and he had a plan. But he made one critical mistake. He underestimated the person he was trying to screw over, and that mistake cost him everything. So this story is about a medical emergency, a business partner with hidden agendas, paperwork filed in secret, a discovery that changes everything, a legal battle that's absolutely brutal, and consequences that the partner never saw coming. By the end, you're going to understand why the original poster felt justified doing what they did. And honestly, you probably will be too. Let's get into it. I'm 42 years old, and I've spent the last 15 years building a company with my business partner, Michael. We started this company from absolutely nothing. We met in college. We had an idea. We had zero money. We maxed out credit cards. We worked nights and weekends. We built something. For the first 10 years, it was great. We were partners. We made decisions together. We split profits fairly. Michael was like a brother to me. But then around year 11, I started noticing a shift. Michael started making decisions without consulting me. He started hiring people I didn't approve of. He started taking meetings I wasn't invited to. And when I'd ask about it, he'd say, "It's just operational stuff. Nothing you need to worry about." That should have been a red flag, but I ignored it. Then last year I got sick. Really sick. I was diagnosed with a serious health condition that required surgery and 6 months of recovery. I told Michael, I need to step back for 6 months. I need to focus on getting better. You're going to have to handle the day-to-day stuff. And Michael said, don't worry. I've got this. Just focus on your health. Perfect, right? Wrong. What I didn't know is that while I was in a hospital bed recovering from surgery, Michael was in an office somewhere meeting with lawyers. And here's what I want to ask you. At what point, when someone is dealing with a medical emergency, do you think it's acceptable to make major business decisions about them without their knowledge? When they're literally in recovery? When they can't even get out of bed? Never, right? Never. But that's exactly what Michael did. 3 months into my recovery, I was doing better. Not great, but better. I could walk around the house. I could work from home a little bit. So I logged into our company email, and that's when I saw it. An email from a lawyer to Michael, with the subject line, paperwork, complete partnership dissolution. My heart just stopped. I opened the email, and it said, per your request, we have filed the amended articles of incorporation. Your business partner's name has been removed from all official documents. The company is now solely under your ownership. He will not be legally listed as a co-owner or partner, effective immediately. Can I just say my hands started shaking? My wife was in the room with me, and I literally couldn't speak. Michael filed paperwork to remove me from my company, the company I built, while I was recovering from surgery, and he never told me. He never asked me. He just did it. What would you do right now? Would you immediately confront him? Would you think about it? How angry are you on behalf of this guy? I kept reading. The lawyer's email said, the new partner agreement I drafted shows Michael as the sole owner. I've submitted all necessary filings to the state. The transition is complete. There was also a salary reduction clause. Effective immediately, my salary was being cut in half. Half. While I was recovering from medical leave, my partner removed me as co-owner and cut my salary in half. I did not respond to that email. I did not call Michael. I did not do anything. I just sat there and read that email about 15 times. And then I did something smart. I called my lawyer. And here's where the story gets interesting. Because the original poster is about to do something that's absolutely genius. My lawyer is named Sandra, and when I told her what Michael did, she went very quiet. Then she said, "Did he get your signature?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "For the articles of incorporation to be officially changed, both partners need to sign the amendment. Did he get your signature?" And I said, "No, I was on medical leave. He never asked me to sign anything." And Sandra said, "Then the paperwork is invalid." Okay, so right here is where I want to stop and ask you. Do you understand what just happened? Michael filed paperwork to remove his business partner, but he forgot one critical thing. You can't remove a co-owner without their signature. Without consent, the paperwork he filed was illegal. And Michael, in his rush to steal the company, made a huge mistake. So I said, "What do I do?" Sandra said, "We need to check the original articles of incorporation, and we need to see what was actually filed, because if he filed false documents, that's fraud." I said, "I have the original articles." Michael kept a copy in his office, and I have access to the company safe. Sandra said, "Get them." So this is when the original poster realizes he has the original documents. He has proof that Michael tried to commit fraud. He has everything he needs to destroy Michael legally. I went to Michael's office. He was in a meeting, so I had time. I went to the safe. The safe was open, and I found the original articles of incorporation. I scanned them. I sent them to Sandra, and Sandra called me back within an hour. She said, "This is clear-cut fraud. He filed false documents claiming both partners agreed to the dissolution. But you never signed anything. This is illegal. This is criminal." I said, "What are my options?" Sandra said, "You can sue. You can press criminal charges, or you can do both. And here's where I want to ask you. What would you do right now? You just found out your business partner tried to commit fraud against you. You have proof. Your lawyer is offering to destroy him in court. What do? Do you A. Immediately confront him and try to resolve it? B. Quietly contact the authorities and let law enforcement handle it? C. Contact him, document his response, then go to authorities? D. Gather more evidence first, then make your move? What would you do? Think about it. Because the original poster made a choice, and it was absolutely calculated. I decided not to say anything to Michael yet. Instead, I asked Sandra to file a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit, for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and unauthorized filing of documents. But I didn't serve the papers immediately. I just filed them. Then I did something else. I went through every email, every text, every communication with Michael from the past 2 years, and I documented everything that showed his pattern of behavior. Emails where he made decisions without consulting me, meeting notes from conversations I wasn't invited to, communications with the lawyer discussing how to remove me, financial records showing he was preparing to cut my salary, evidence that he was planning this for months. What the original poster is doing here is brilliant. He's not acting emotionally. He's not confronting Michael in anger. He's being a lawyer's dream. He's gathering evidence, building a case, creating an airtight argument. I compiled everything, organized it, created a timeline, and presented it to Sandra. And Sandra said, "This is perfect. This shows premeditation. This shows he wasn't acting in a moment of passion. He was planning this carefully." I said, "So what happens now?" Sandra said, "Now we wait for him to respond to the lawsuit. And when he does, we destroy him." But here's the thing. Michael doesn't know about the lawsuit yet. Michael thinks the paperwork he filed is valid. Michael thinks the company is officially his. Michael thinks he got away with it. And I'm going to let him think that until the papers get served. Because sometimes the best response to betrayal isn't immediate confrontation. It's patience. It's preparation. It's letting them think they won before you show them they lost everything. I'm going to pause here and ask, do you think this approach was smart? Or do you think he should have confronted Michael immediately? What's the ethical move here? 1 week later, Michael gets served with the lawsuit papers. He shows up to the office furious, absolutely livid. He comes to my desk and he says, "What the hell is this lawsuit?" And I say, "Read the papers, Michael. It's all spelled out." He starts reading, and I can see his face go pale. He says, "This is insane. This is just a disagreement. We can work this out." And I say, "There's nothing to work out. You committed fraud. You filed false documents. You removed me as co-owner without my consent while I was recovering from surgery." And Michael says, "I was trying to protect the company. I was trying to secure our future." That's his defense. I was trying to protect the company by removing his business partner, by committing fraud, by doing it behind his back while he was literally recovering from medical surgery. I said, "No, Michael, you were trying to steal the company, and you got caught." Michael said, "Your lawyer won't win this. I'll settle this quietly. We don't need to involve the courts." And I said, "It's too late for that. The lawsuit is filed. The discovery process starts in 2 weeks, and you're going to have to explain to a judge why you filed false documents." Michael left the office, and that was the last time I ever spoke to him. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because what happens next in the legal process is absolutely brutal for Michael. During discovery, which is when both sides have to share all their documents and communications, Michael's lawyer discovers that Michael had a second hidden agenda. Michael wasn't just trying to remove the original poster. Michael had already found a buyer for the company. He had already negotiated a sale price, and the buyer was paying Michael a personal commission for bringing them the company as a solo owner. In other words, Michael was trying to steal the company, sell it, and pocket the commission without ever telling his business partner. When the judge found out about this, the ruling was swift and devastating. The judge ruled the paperwork Michael filed was illegal and null and void. The original articles of incorporation stand. The business partner is still a 50% owner. Michael is ordered to pay restitution for the salary, cut and lost wages, during the medical leave period. It's $50,000. Michael is removed as co-owner and manager of the company. He is fired from his own company. The sale to the buyer is canceled. Michael has to return any money he was paid up front. Michael is ordered to pay his former business partner's legal fees, an additional $80,000. The business partnership is dissolved. The company is liquidated, and assets are split 50-50. Total cost to Michael. He loses his company. He loses $230,000 in damages and legal fees. He loses his job and he loses his reputation. And that's before the criminal investigation. Because the original poster did press criminal charges for fraud, Michael was charged with filing false documents. He had to hire a criminal defense attorney. He went through a criminal trial. The final outcome? Michael was convicted. He received probation and community service. And he's now known in business circles as someone who committed fraud against his business partner. So to summarize, Michael tried to steal a company. He thought he was smart. He thought he could get away with it. But his business partner had the originals. His business partner had a good lawyer. And his business partner was patient enough to let justice work. And it did. The original poster's final comment was, "I'm not proud of how this all played out. I wish things could have gone differently." But Michael made his choice. He chose greed over partnership. He chose fraud over honesty. And he chose to do it while I was at my most vulnerable. So I chose consequences for him. Not revenge, not rage, just consequences. And I think that's the most important lesson here. Sometimes the best response to betrayal isn't anger. It's documentation. It's patience. It's letting the legal system do what it's designed to do. Michael destroyed our partnership when he filed that paperwork. I just made sure he faced the consequences for it. So that's the story. And now I want to ask you, do you think the original poster was right to pursue this case? Or was it too harsh? Do you think Michael deserved what he got? Or was the judgment too severe? If you were in this situation, would you have done the same thing? Drop a comment below and tell me what you think. I'm genuinely curious how you'd handle this. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, especially in business, please share your story, because I want to hear it. Thanks for watching. If you like this story, please hit like and subscribe for more. Turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. I'll see you in the next one.